This is the most elegantly, robustly designed piece of lighting I have ever used. But is that enough? Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for Three Blind Men and an Elephant. And today I want to talk to you about the Creamsource Microcolor LED. But before I get into it, heads up that our next workshops, Streets of New York 2, coming up October 20 to 23rd. Our last one was just amazing. And a new intensive titled From Photographer to YouTube Creator, all about video, happening next month actually, May 27th through 29th, are now open and selling quickly. Yay. I'll put links to the short videos we've done on each down below and up above if I remember, along with links to our website where you can learn more and sign up. But for now, let's just say that in both cases, intimate classroom meets practicum philosophy and artistic voicing in my favorite city on the planet, New York, with, if our last workshop is any indication, a really great group of like-minded people. You'll learn a lot. I'll learn a lot. Claudia will learn a lot. And we'll all have fun doing it. So hope to see you there. Okay, back to the micro color. It's not what I'm used to in an LED panel. As I just said, I've never seen design and build quality like this before. It's industrial art, really. Museum of Modern Art, permanent collection, New York City level art. But I've also never seen such a narrow beam angle on an LED panel, as in 20 degrees narrow, yielding more than 12,000 lux at 5600K, 1 meter, almost 13,000 lux at 3200 Kelvin. By comparison, one of our current go-to panels, Aperture's LS1/2W, is spec'd at less than 1/10 that luminance, 1100 lux at 5500K, same 1 meter distance. But hold that thought. The feature set of the microcolor is exceptional in a unit of this power. Not only is it a full color variable light from 2200 to a whopping 15,000 Kelvin plus RGB, dimmable to 0.1%, but also offers built-in effects and an IP65 rating. You can translate that this way. It's usable in the rain, maybe even a pitching boat in heavy seas, which is not my thing. But on location, outdoors, clearly is its forte. I want to come back to the build quality and design again because they knock my socks off. Everything. I mean, every little thing, from the yoke to the fanless heatsink of a head, Kino-style connection to the various power supply options, including, of course, AC, Sony V-style and Anton Bauer mount batteries, locking levers, jog dial, filter holder frame, the novel holographic lenses, fit and finish, the silky movement of every part. The microcolor just oozes quality and capability. It actually makes an Astra light panel look and feel cheap. Still, like every other product out there, utility and value are a function of your intended use of it. And the irony is that our use cases, the Three Blind Men and an Elephant, are clearly not the primary scenarios for which the microcolor is designed. This is no criticism of the light, but an important context for how I see it, and demonstrates just how attractive it is to me anyway. How many times have I said that now? That I asked Creamsource to send one for me to review anyway. The fact is, an LED panel this small, with a beam angle this narrow, cannot give the soft, enveloping quality of light we look for within the confines of the spaces in and distances at which we usually work, which, by the way, are almost always indoors here in the Batcave, the Bat Studio, or on location, typically in someone's modest kitchen or living room, no matter what one attaches to it, whether it's the DOP snap bag that comes with the Gaffer kit or Creamsource's own 100-degree holographic lens. But with this said, once I thought about it just a little bit differently and used it in a way I'd never used any light before, as a book light, bouncing it into a 30 by 40 inch whiteboard, which I'm doing right now, the micro helped me solve the challenge that has flummoxed me since we switched backgrounds a few months ago, creating a soft and flattering light without horrible background reflection. This is something I'd been unable to tame, even with flags, even with a circular polarizer, because of the particular angles and limitations of the space. As I said, I'm filming with it right now, finally, as I want all of this to be. However, once the microcolor encouraged me to think differently, I applied that very same thinking to gear we already have, in this case the LS-W, and suddenly math and practical testing became critically useful. So this is the Creamsource Micro bounced into a 30 by 40 inch white board. The ISO is 160, the aperture is f2, and the shutter speed is 1/50th of a second. We're going to keep all of that constant and just change the holographic lenses now. So here we are with the 20-degree holographic lens. This is the 60-degree holographic lens. And this is the 100-degree holographic lens. In all cases, we are at 99% output. And this is an aperture LS-1/2W beamed at the exact same angle into the same 30 by 40 board. The photometric differences in real-world performance between the $1,300 Creamsource microcolor and $400 aperture LS-1/2W, again, for what we do, diminish dramatically, with the LS-1/2W actually outperforming the microcolor when one needs maximum brightness at the widest beam spread. Of course, the question arises, how can one fixture boast almost 13,000 lux at 1 meter, the other 1,100 lux at the same distance, and yet look so similar in practice? Well, for those of you not already familiar with it, it has to do with something called the inverse square law, which, to keep it simple, is a formula for capturing the reality that brightness changes in inverse proportion to the square of the distance from the source. That is to say, the brightness diminishes in a predictable way as distance increases. And that, in turn, is a function in this instance of differences in distance required for each fixture given their different beam angles to achieve a constant beam diameter. But forget the math and cut to what we can see with our own eyes. And the bottom line is, I love the result provided by either fixture, not just the more natural look to my eye than my usual setup, but I love the quality of the light provided by both. In fact, both lights show very high CRI and TLCI scores, well into the mid to upper 90s, without the magenta or green cast I often saw in LED panels just a few years ago. Does this mean that the LS-W is a steal and the microcolor is overpriced? Well, no, not necessarily at all, though clearly in our case, the LS-W is far more economical. As always, it comes down to use cases. The hard reality is that in many situations, especially on carefully constructed sets, you want and need the kind of, relatively speaking, pinpoint precision from a distance that only the microcolor in this comparison can provide. Maybe multiple microcolors. If you need effects and RGB capability with that precision, the LS-W simply isn't a tool. When time is of the essence and precision matching ambient lighting or other lights is critical, the microcolor simply does things the LS-1/2W can't. When you're going to be using gear day in and day out and not babying it, the microcolor will, I fully expect, last far longer with fewer skinned knuckles than the LS-W. Of course, there is pinpoint LED precision to be had with chip-on-board lights too, especially when paired with Fresnels, though even the newly announced Aperture 300D2 remains daylight only. I'd be really interested in what you guys have found in the market. Do you have any particular lighting you think is a credible, cost-effective alternative to the microcolor panel or chip on board? On the other hand, if you need to travel small in light, like we do, and budget is tight, like ours is, and you're willing to futz with gels or accept mismatched color temperatures because you realize your audience won't notice, well, okay. In that instance, the LS-FW is an incredible value. And when it comes to color temperature, yeah, I've done it. 3, back to the relatively mundane, because the micro is utterly silent. As I just said, no fan. Like the LS-FW, actually, I'm able to use a lighter touch in sound post-production, which is always a good thing. I do not know of a monostyle light that doesn't use active cooling and generate noise. But again, maybe you guys do, and please put that in the comments section below. 4, what is this, the 4th or 5th time I'm mentioning it? The industrial design and tactile qualities of the microcolor. They are so incredible. The details so well thought out that I actually enjoy working with it, something I've never experienced with lighting gear. Then again, closing in on 10 pounds for the fixture with yoke and power supply, the microcolor is almost 50% heavier than the LS-FW and bulkier. So, let's wrap it up this way. I find myself in the relatively curious position of realizing the Creamsource microcolor is simultaneously more than I need and less than I want. As I've said, it offers a number of effects, which I don't need. It offers RGB, which I don't need. It offers DMX connectivity, which I don't need. Yet, I also find myself thinking that while the microcolor is priced less accessibly than I'd like personally, I don't think it's unfairly priced at all. In fact, it's priced the same as a LightPanel's Astra 6X bicolor LED panel, and within a couple of $100 of the current Aperture 300D. The microcolor smokes the 300D, actually, in all ways except brightness and modifiers, which are actually fairly critical, like the most critical things. But it's the modifiers that really get to me. As I implied earlier, like all LED panels I've ever seen, the light modifiers available for the microcolor just don't rock my world. The DOP snap bag available for it is too small to meaningfully diffuse the power of the light. And again, like every other diffuser for LED panels I've seen, it connects in a fussy way. In this instance, and I've seen this kind of thing before, with elasticized straps. And I think this dilutes the entire Creamsource experience. I guess what I'm saying to you is the experience of using this thing is important. The 300D, on the other hand, has an integrated Bowens mount, allowing light to be diffused or concentrated in ways the Creamsource cannot. But maybe the way to view this is as an opportunity. The microcolor is so robustly built that I suspect Creamsource could create a line of LED panel modifiers worthy of the Creamsource experience. No fuss, no muss, no straps, no fussy putting things together. Maybe something conceptually similar to this NIKKOR reflector, but with diffusion material instead. The rods attaching to a frame that slips into the microcolor's super robust filter holographic lens holder. I really like that idea. Surface area big enough, close enough to the fixture with, say, 100-degree holographic lens, weighing and packing down to almost nothing, that it just might offer a compelling alternative to the rash of chip-on-board units out there today, which, with Bowens compatibility, are difficult to beat, though usually, when adding in the depth of softboxes especially, much deeper than I'd like. Much heavier and bulkier if used with scrims and additional stands. There is no Bluetooth connectivity or other wireless remote that I saw, something with which the light panel Astra can be configured, something the $200 on-camera Luxley Viola does straight out of the box, something many of the Apertures have straight out of the box via their own proprietary physical remote wireless. Bluetooth connectivity is really smart, though, because it allows manufacturers to upgrade their fixtures' capabilities without doing a thing to the hardware via smartphone apps with their industry-leading user interfaces. As I said earlier, the microcolor is heavier than I'd like, especially because I'd want a pair of them along with those future uber cool light modifiers I just ideated as our location kit for interviews rather than the single aperture LS-FW we run through a 3-foot diameter diffuser. A pair would provide even illumination across two people with the ability to match ambient lighting instantly, silently, with very low power draw and fewer stands. Of course, I could just add a second LS half W daylight. I should, really, because it costs so much less, and I have too. And you can find them at Adorama and Amazon now, though I would still have to futz with gels and carry extra stands and arms. Unless I use something like this. Which, in the end, leads me back to the conclusion that the Creamsource Microcolor is actually a better fit for larger scale video productions than for what we do. Somewhere that DMX control is a priority, where outstanding weather resistance is a priority, where RGB, color, and modest effects are priorities, where precision accent or highlight lighting are priorities, where an appreciation of industrial art and incredible robustness, along with budget, exist to employ them. But your mileage may vary, and that's fine. If you like what you've seen here today, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, join the conversation below. You guys continue to be just incredible, knowledgeable, inspiring, funny. I mean, you're a joy, truly. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Grab one or both of our new Hold That Thought t-shirts you wanted us to put up at our new 3BMEPthreadless.com store. Support our work by using our affiliate links down below in the show notes, dropping us coffee money via our PayPal link down below in the show notes, or even better than that, we invite you to become a patron of our work over at Patreon. Link down below. We've created our Patreon page because we are stoked to bring you not only gear reviews, but with our What Were You Thinking and Good World Gone Bad series, historical, educational, artistic morsels, and longer form conversations, not interviews, with world-class photographers, curators, gallery owners, keepers of the legacy, folks like Elliot Irwitt, Anya Sear, Mark Lubell, Etheline Staley, and friends like Brian Smith, Paul Giroux, Nino Rakicevic, and more. We'd really like you to join us to deliver this kind of content regularly. Your support on Patreon will really help us ramp it up. In which case, as always, we thank you for it. That's it. For Three Blind Men and an Elephant, I'm Hugh Brownstone. See you next time.